Hello, and welcome to a very special, very festive edition of the Phoenix Conversations. I'm Lucy Macara, and before anything else, happy Christmas. Happy end of 2025, whether you're celebrating a year you've loved or cheering the end of a year you're happy to see the back of. And whether you've been with me through every episode of this podcast, have followed me from earlier projects, or you're listening for the first time, I'm so glad you're here. Today's episode isn't an inspiring interview with a fascinating reinventor, it's just me, with a reflective Christmas message. A moment where perhaps I can help you pause at the end of a year filled with growth, surprises, and perhaps some very meaningful transitions, which I'm sure has been the same for you, because frankly, what year is not? Business-wise, for Rethink Press and BookMagic AI, 2025 has been a year of two halves. Normally, January is a time when entrepreneurs and experts decide that this is the year they'll write and publish their book. So signing up for book writing support and publishing usually gives us a start of year bounce. January 2025, though, was dead. It wasn't just publishing, it seems. Other entrepreneurs and business owners told me the same story. The first months of this year were difficult, to say the least. Whether it was uncertainty about the economy, the political situation in the US, small businesses seemed to be freezing their budgets and hedging their bets. But as the weather warmed up, so did the aspirations of expert authors, and we've finished the year on a high. I hope that if you had a difficult start to the year, you experienced the same reversal by the end. This year has been one of those years where, for me, life and work seem to weave together, each reinforcing the other, and all of it pointing towards reinvention, my favourite theme, in the most unexpected ways. One of the brightest highlights was the publication of my 14th book, BookMagic: Become an Author Faster and Transform Your Expertise into Business Gold, back in March. We launched it in the old Chelsea Library, a place that meant everything to me growing up. Living just up the road in Chelsea Square, I spent hours in that children's library, lost in the extraordinary range of books from Enid Blyton to Just Williams, Swallows and Amazons, to Anne of Green Gables, What Katie Did, and A Tale of Two Cities. I'd take them home, devour them in my bedroom, and go back for the next 3 books I could take out several times a week. And in one of those strange full-circle twists of life, that building, the old Chelsea Library, is now home to my old primary school, Francis Holland Junior School. Standing there launching my new book, surrounded by people who've shaped my journey, my co-founders and colleagues from Rethink Press, BookMagic and the Business Book Awards, authors I've mentored and published, dear friends and family, it felt like a perfect moment of return and renewal. The little girl who adored books had grown into the woman helping others write theirs. And then there was the thrill of seeing BookMagic AI win 2 awards this year. AI Startup of the Year in London in the summer, and AI Entrepreneur of the Year at the Great British Entrepreneur Awards in November. It was hugely affirming, a reminder that creative technology built with heart and purpose really can make a difference. And it was great fun to be at both these awards events with David Horn, business finance guru. Speaking this year for me was also a joy. I was a guest on so many wonderful podcasts and gave book writing masterclasses and mentoring sessions to BookMagic and Rethink authors. But in the end, nothing beats in real life stages, and I had the privilege of joining some wonderful events. Danny Wallace's The Big Festoon, Nicola Rowley's Impact Live, and Frankie James's Ideas Fest. Each one had its own energy, its own community, and each reminded me how powerful it is to be in a room where ideas and courage are bouncing between people. But perhaps the most unexpectedly meaningful part of my year was something far more personal. My weekly podcast conversations with my childhood friend Lisette on the year of being 70. Talking to Lisette every week, knowing we were recording and releasing it to the world, gave me a kind of permission I didn't know I needed. I found I could be completely open about my age, my quirks, my fears, my work, my personal life, my joys, and my missteps. It was astonishingly liberating. And even more astonishing was that people genuinely seemed to like it. The audience grew and grew, and by the time we reached the final episode, we had 66,000 views on YouTube. 66,000. It was both exhilarating and surreal. When the year ended on my 71st birthday, I felt a real sadness. I hate endings, one of the things we discussed on the podcast. I would have happily continued those conversations forever. But Lisette, in her calm wisdom, said it was the year of being 70, and we've done that. And of course she was right. So I took Lisette's advice. She is a wise and wonderful coach and mentor as well as a dear friend, and framed it not as the ending of one project, but the opportunity to make it the beginning of this one, the Phoenix Conversations. An exciting new rise from a beautiful ending. Now Lisette and I still talk regularly, but we don't record or publish our conversations, except for the one we had for episode 6 of the Phoenix Conversations, where she unpacked her life reinventions from early depression to what she now calls her glory years. This was also the year I rebranded my Women's Mastermind program as the Mission Mastermind. Mission, I realised, was the thread that united every group of women I've loved working with. Women writing books, building businesses, navigating transitions, or redefining themselves in midlife and beyond. What drives them is not just ambition, but a mission, a sense that their expertise matters, that their stories need space, and that their next chapter has purpose. That mission continues to inspire me every day. 3 milestones that passed this year in my personal life were my 30th wedding anniversary. Richard and I went off to a lovely Tudor house that is now a spa hotel and had a relax and reflection. It hardly seemed possible we'd been together for 3 decades, and yet it felt like a real achievement. And then my darling mother made it to her 98th birthday, which we celebrated with almost all her children and partners, grandchildren and great-grandchildren around her. And on a more mundane level, a couple of weeks ago, I hit my goal weight after being on weight loss injections for 18 months. I've lost over 5 stone, slowly but effectively, 1 pound a week on average, and I'm back to where I was in my early 40s and feeling at least as fit, healthy, sharp and energised as I was then. And while I'm reflecting on the year, I want to acknowledge a few people who have been instrumental in the work I do and in the woman I've become. First, Jo Gregory, my co-founder of Rethink Press. We began a new publishing imprint for entrepreneur authors 14 years ago. That was Rethink Press. And BookMagic AI eventually spun out from that shared vision. Jo and I are polar opposites in so many ways, which is why we make such a great team working together. But we've always had a shared vision about the creation of beautiful books for entrepreneur authors and the values we hold in the business and indeed life. Daniel Priestley, founder of Dent Global and the Key Person of Influence program, now a media star in the entrepreneur world, from his appearances on Stephen Bartlett's Diary of a CEO to advising the government on small business and entrepreneurship. 12 years ago, Daniel invited me to be the publish mentor on the KPI program, which meant I've mentored a couple of thousand entrepreneurs, coaches and consultants through their book writing process. Daniel later invited me to become a director of the company, and he has always been a generous supporter and champion. I really appreciate him. Jonathan Farrar, the extraordinary tech genius behind BookMagic AI. jumping onto a call with him when I saw him posting about an idea of creating an app to help him write his own book, and insisting that we do this together was one of my best decisions. And working with him is one of the greatest pleasures of my professional life, a combination of innovation, fun, clarity, and true partnership. I also love working with Michaela Brown, who has been part of all my women-centered projects for the last 7 years, and she co-hosts both the Mission Mastermind and Mission Magic with me. Her commitment, creativity, and heart have shaped so much of the work we do together. Sapna Piru has rebranded Mission Magic with her brilliance, expertise, and her own brand of magic and friendship. And working with Anne Whitehouse on deep and energetic issues has been an absolute game changer. From publishing her book, Pull Back Your Power, to working one-to-one with this female alchemist, I have grown in understanding and appreciation of subconscious forces that can support and derail all our lives. I am deeply grateful to all of them. So here we are, just before Christmas, and I want to offer a reflection. Whether you celebrate it or not, this season gives us permission to pause. We can slow down just enough to notice where we've been and who we've become. We reconnect with the people we love and sometimes with parts of ourselves that we've forgotten. Every Christmas, I'm reminded that renewal doesn't come from resolutions. It comes from rest, from reflection, from the gentle return of light after a long year. I hope this holiday will be soft and spacious and kind to you. Listen out for its whisper to you of what might be ready to rise. I won't say too much about next week's episode yet, except this. There's something very special I'll be sharing with you on the 30th of December. Something meaningful and humbling and connected to everything I've talked about today. So do join me for that final episode of the year. But for now, thank you truly for being part of the Phoenix Conversations. This podcast has been one of the most joyful, surprising and affirming parts of my year, and I'm so grateful you're here with me. I wish you a peaceful, restorative, love-filled Christmas. And as always, here's to rising. If you're enjoying the Phoenix Conversations podcast, please do subscribe and follow on Spotify, Apple and YouTube. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Due to the gift of my husband's unpronounceable and unusual surname, I am the only Lucy Macara on the internet. If you'd like me to speak at your event or group, get in touch. I've got lots of powerful concepts and great stories to share for every audience. Signing off for now, before Christmas, happy Christmas and enjoy your rest.